to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message, hit the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try enforcing some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia. Guys, we're joined by three other fantastic gentlemen this week. Vrail, Moon, and Lancefer with me. Say hello, everybody.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What up, what up, what up, guys? I hope you enjoyed the meta report that came out last Friday. That is number 2 in the series. I believe what we're at. We'll be 5 in this month, so you're getting them a couple months behind. But we plan to release those meta reports as supplemental podcast episodes as we need to take days off or whatever it is. So if you're not subscribed to Patreon, patreon.com/TForce Network, you will eventually get to hear them. However, it may be 2 or 3 months behind. So what you're hearing is actually going to be... it's not going to help you, especially like after today, because today is patch 8.9, and probably a lot of stuff that guys talked about has gone out the window because mages are now up in the air. Gone, Vrail says. So, yeah, today we're going to talk about patch 8.9. You guys can go support us. Don't forget about Buddha Boxers, BUDDHA, boxers.com/TForce. Use code TrinityForce for 20% off your entire order. High-quality, premium boxers made out of bamboo. They help wick the sweat away and keep you nice and happy during your gaming sessions. I wear a pair every single day, and I know I go fishing for them when I cannot find them, and I can't wait to buy more of those. If you have not purchased premium underwear, I cannot tell you how much you're missing out on by not having premium underwear. So guys, BuddhaBoxers.com/TForce, code TrinityForce for 20% off. Things are on the way. Let's go. Patch 8.9. Because I have to kick Moon out of the podcast here in about 10 minutes because he has to go drywall because he kicked his bathroom door down or some shit. I don't fucking know what happened.
He got demoted, couldn't handle it.
Nothing quite that dramatic. Probably some moisture damage more than anything.
The man got really mad after a real bad Garen game, so he called up Riot after he punched through a hole through his wall, and Riot was like, "We're going to buff Garen this patch for you, buddy." And he said, "Sweet, also send a drywaller over."
I think that's exactly
about
how
time.
it went down.
Yeah, sounds about right.
All inclusive.
That's right. Garen gets a buff on this patch. Q Decisive Strike goes up. It was 30 to 130 damage with rank. It is now 30 to 170. So it goes up 10 damage at rank 2, 20 damage at rank 3, and so on and so forth, 30 and 40 damage. Also, as well, Courage W, the maximum resistances gained was 30. It is now 40. So Garen, Master, Marine, Moon, what's good?
So just to throw some numbers out there, because earlier today I was having an argument on the Garen main Discord anyway. Q has always been the better max, in my opinion, since the Juggernaut change a couple of years back in 2015. The math on that, so this applies to level 4, which is the first opportunity where you can choose to put a second point into Q or E. If you were to take E on the current patch, you get 276 damage from E and 136 from Q for a total of 404. If you were to take Q at level 4 on the current patch, then E is only going to be 248 and Q is going to be 171 for a total of 419. So basically on the current patch, maxing Q early already gives you 15 more total combo damage. But now with the new patch, Garen's, Q damage is going up, so now that's 25 difference. And as the levels go up, so like if you weren't already maxing Q on Garen first, you're basically inting by not doing that now. So just for all you Garen players, make sure you max Q first. As far as the W Courage change, I'm not super happy with just a flat increase from 30 to 40. I think this was probably the wrong place to put power in his kit. But on the offhand, it will make him a little bit tankier late game, and if you have good farm, you're going to be particularly durable in the mid game. So that's about what I have to say.
Better than any of us could have said it. Keep maxing Q. Get out there, do more damage.
Oh, sounds like my doorbell actually just rang, so I have to peace. Good timing.
Perfect.
See you guys.
Perfect timing.
See you, Ben. All right. So that's why we get out here. That's why we got him in, so he could do the Garen changes at least. But we're actually going to take a step back now, and we're going to talk about the Dorans and the mage changes that are coming in this patch, because much as I want to go through the rest of the champions, the mage changes are the biggest piece of this. And we're going to go through basically everything that got changed, and then we're going to go through everything that got changed, and then we're going to sum it up afterwards. Does that make sense? So we're not spending a real long time on one item in particular. Okay, so Doran's Ring has been changed in this patch. It no longer gives base mana regen, and it no longer returns mana on minion kill. And I know you guys have been used to this for a really long time. So now if you pick up Doran's Ring, now it gives 5 mana regen per 5 seconds, and now gives +5 on hit damage versus minions. So instead of having to last hit a minion to get mana, you just passively are getting mana by having the item in your inventory. And I guess actually the now gives 5 mana per regen per 5 seconds is roughly the same as it was previously, because it would take you 15 seconds to clear a wave, but you're not getting nearly as much mana back, right?
I believe so.
I believe so, yeah.
I mean, a lot of these changes are going to be wait and see how they play out, but I believe you're getting less.
Lost Chapter is getting changed in this patch as well. It now builds out of Amplifying Tome, and Sapphire Crystal, plus 80 gold. It now costs a total of 1,300 gold, and the ability power has been increased to 40. So basically, they're delaying the spike by 200 gold. They're delaying the spike by 200 gold to give you an extra 15 ability power. They want you to get that item a little bit slower than you previously did. Tear of the Goddess is being changed. The cost going up by 100 gold to 850. Mana cost refund is down to 10%. From 15%, and when you gain max mana from Tear of the Goddess passive, it preserves your percent current mana rather than granting you full max mana increases current mana increase. Which I guess that one probably isn't as big as changing the total cost and amount of mana refund, huh?
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
Yeah. Excuse me. Touching another item out of the mid lane, Hextech GLP 800 is getting a change across the board. Combined cost down to 450. Total cost is unchanged because it's offset by the lost chapter cost increase. Mm-hmm. The mana has gone up to 600. Slow duration is now 2 seconds. Missile speed is now 2,000. Missile spread time is now 0.2 seconds. Cast time is 0.25 seconds, which is unchanged.
When they first reworked this item, they gave it no cast time, I believe. So they put that back at some point, I guess. I don't remember when they did. Because I remember when they reworked it, we talked fairly extensively about how it was going to be really helpful to have no cast time, but it still sucks.
Yeah.
I like this item in theory, the GLP, and I like the extra damage. I like the spray, but I still feel like Proto Belt's the better buy in a lot of cases.
For most people, yeah. Still the Alien Soul item.
Right. Yeah, it really does come down to that, isn't it? It's like, do you need to stick to somebody? Well, you already have high base damage. I guess we're sticking to it with GLP 800. Because they've changed a lot of the other items too. Fiendish Codex, ability power has gone up to 35. Zonia's Hourglass and Banshee's Veil also have 5 more ability power. Twin Shadows, the ability power has gone up to 70. And Seeker's Arm Guard, the total cost has been decreased to 1,100.
Interesting.
Yeah, we got a few more here before we actually talk about everything, so I want to make sure you guys know all the big changes that are happening. Spellbinder, total cost up to 2,900 gold from 2,800. Combined cost up for that by 100 gold to 800 gold. Ability power has been increased to 120. Ability power max on activation has been decreased to 80, so you get more passive ability power.
I like that.
Yeah.
Noted. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah. Movement speed max on activation up to 50%. This item just got really good. Actually, like way better than it was previously.
A lot of Vladimir's going to have that.
Oh, yeah.
Vladimir's, Vagar's, fucking Annie's. Yeah. Rylai's Crystal Scepter, ability power up by 5 to 90. Magi Soul Stealer stacks her movement speed down to 10. And Ludens Echo, total cost down by 100 gold to 3,200 gold. Now builds out a Lost Chapter, Blasting Wand, and 1,050 gold. And mana has also been increased to 600. So with all of those changes, where do we start?
Well, do we want to talk about how they changed the mana for... Because all these are mana items? Or most of them are? Well, actually, like half of them are.
Yeah, we can talk about
Sorry, half of them are. But what they're doing is they're changing how mana works for a ton of champions, where they're going to have a higher base pool, but they're going to scale... They're going to get way less scaling mana. Like, significantly less. Like, I think it's half for most people. So that's part of why they're changing a lot of these items is... I don't really know exactly what their goal is. It seems like just looking at it briefly, it seems like a nerf to a lot of mages who are they might have a little more mana early, which might help them get to their lost chapter because they'll have a bigger pool. But having that scaling mana decreased, I feel like you're going to have a lot of mana problems later in the game. So that's part of the reason why it kind of ties into all these changes.
Yeah. Is there any idea when you're really going to start feeling that, for lack of a better term, break-even point of the lack of mana growth versus the higher base mana?
I'm pretty sure it should be fairly quickly, because most champions are getting under 100 mana, and most champions scale with like 50 or so, and it's all getting cut in half, so it should be like pre-level 6 where you'll have a smaller level pool, smaller mana pool, I think.
Yeah.
So, wrapping back around the Doran's Ring with this discussion, every wave that you killed that wasn't a cannon minion wave, you were receiving, what the fuck, I just did it, 4, 8, 16, 20, 24. You were getting 24 mana per wave with Doran's Ring that you killed, because it was 4 mana upon killing a unit, and now you get 5 mana regeneration per 5 seconds, so essentially you've cut your mana regeneration down by, I would say, about, 10?
And you have to remember, since you have a smaller mana pool overall, if you are taking mana flow band, because that's a percentage that it gives you back, it's going to be giving you back less also.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, to make up for this, didn't they increase mana regen on like all of the champions and base mana on like all of the mana using champions on this patch to try to make up for these changes?
Slightly, yeah.
Yeah. It
looks like it's 2 for most of them. They're getting 2 more back per 5 seconds. So I think that might even out the Doran's Ring change pretty closely, because it's 2 for every 5.
So they went through and just basically anyone that used mana, mages that use mana, they went and changed, and they have their mana gross stat, but they increased their base mana pool by a pretty significant amount, and they also increased their mana regen. So honestly, if it takes 15 seconds to clear a wave, that's 15 mana, plus everybody's gaining an extra 2 per 5 seconds, you're walking out of the lane with about the same amount of mana than you were previously, after you clear a wave.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a more problem later in the game where you can't just use your abilities all whenever you feel like it. You're going to have to be more calculated and not just spam. I think that's what they're getting at. That's the kind of overarching goal of this.
I don't see a problem with that, though. Like, you shouldn't be able to just willy-nilly cast the entire game without picking up some kind of items that help you do that. And yeah, I think everybody should be fine with these changes, because they went through and they hit everybody's mana regen, they hit everyone's base mana, etc. Like, early game really shouldn't feel that much different, but you're right, going into the mid and late game where you can siege and poke for a really long time without blue buff is starting to go the way of the dodo. I don't think these changes overall, like, Vrail, you kind of were playing Doomsday over here with these changes and just kind of looking at everything. I don't think this changes the landscape on mid too much. It just forces anybody. It really does force anybody to stay a little longer to get lost chapter, right? So we have to kind of be more strategic about what we're playing out of mid.
Yeah, I agree. It's just been like they've slowly been nerfing mages over the last, because they changed lost chapter, they reworked the items, and then they changed mana flow, and now they're doing this change to mana. So I think over the last couple of patches, the availability of mana has gone down more than just what this one patch is doing. And as a result, a lot of assassins have come and been more powerful. So, I mean, I think mages have been on top for a very long time, which I think it's the best way for the game to be, because I think mages provide a lot of counterplay, but you can also play really well on them, obviously. So I think if mages are the strongest, then I think it's the healthiest way for the game to be. But I think they're slowly just scooting away from that.
Yeah. But we've always talked about the game ebb and flowing, though. Like, if one thing is weak, something else is strong, and it always, the circle continually moves around. So as mages get weaker and weaker if a mage has to sit longer in lane to get to the point where they're able to clear waves efficiently, that potentially allows assassins, like you were alluding to, that allows assassins to start eking into the mid lane.
Yeah, and they also changed the hourglass also. So they just slowly been chipping away at mage power.
Although I will say they did buff the buy cost for Seeker's Arm Guard, so it's not going to make mages completely unable to do anything against those AD assassins.
Yeah, I just think because most assassins have it's a lot easier for assassins to outplay mages in general. Would you all agree? And when the person who has all this potential to outplay someone is actually like has the numbers that are stronger than their counterparts, I just feel like it can make it a lot more difficult to play mages into them when they might be they're a little more they're not okay they're behind, but since of all these changes they're not as far behind as they look, and then since they have the ability to outplay, it just kind of skews it where it can make it a lot more difficult to play mages. Jeez, that was a terrible combination of words I just spit out.
You're saying it's harder to play mages now because there's less mana available, and that allows the assassins to come up and abuse the fact that it takes longer for a mage to come in line.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was the short version of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think I have too much more to add to it. I'm actually, I'm with Twin Shadows getting a buff on this patch, and as well as Fiendish Codex, etc. I'm a little worried about Twisted Fate starting to come because he has the extra mana regen through his blue cards, and he pushes really well. So I can see Twisted Fate start moving up the ladder. Annie starts moving up. Vhagar starts moving up because Vhagar has innate mana regeneration in his kit.
Does he? I thought they took that out.
Oh shit, you're right. They did. No, they didn't. Did they? Fuck.
Yeah, he used to scale where the less amount of mana he had, the higher his mana regen is, but now it's just...
Oh, that's right. They changed it. That's right. They made it so that when you kill... No. Vhagar gains a stack of phenomenal whenever Yeah, that's right. I forgot that's what it used to be. Then they made it so that he gets phenomenal evil by doing it. That you can tell I really pay attention. What I know when I play Vhagar is that if I Q somebody, I get an ability power, and then I forget it's in his passive and not his Q.
I think if you kill someone, you get 6 ability power. It's any ability. If you hit them with any ability, you get ability power.
Gotta love it.
Love it. Also, wouldn't the Spellbinder change be really beneficial? The Spellbinder and what was the other one? Soul Stealer, I think, was the other one I was looking at. I'm not sure. Changes really benefit any mages that are wanting to run Celerity.
If I'm being honest, I didn't know that Magi's gave you move speed.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally knew that before reading the patch notes.
I mean, yeah, it will. But if you're getting Magi's, you're already so far ahead that it's just going to be like overkill on Celerity already. Mm-hmm. But it is nice.
Or Lux.
Or Lux, yeah. Lex, I get Magi's on Lux almost every game because once you start snowballing, she stands so far back and you can stack it incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
We'll get used to playing Lux more because we're going to move on and talk about her. She's getting a big-ass fucking buff on this patch, an insane buff.
I like you.
Base stats. Bonus attack speed at level 1 is now 7%. Attack speed growth down to 1%. Health growth down to 85. So she shouldn't be getting as much life, but she has higher innate attack speed, which should allow her to... The reason they're giving her attack speed is so that she can proc her passive more reliably. For those out there wondering why is a mage getting attack speed, it's because she has to auto-attack to pop her passive.
Yes.
Q, light binding. Base damage was 50 to 250, now 70 to 250. Cooldown was 13 to 11, is now 10 at all ranks. Cost was 50 to 70, now it has been decreased to 40 to 60. Prismatic Barrier always does 200% power on a return shield. Lux now shields herself and fires a missile at the start of a cast. She is still rooted for the cast time. How exciting. So you automatically get that. You don't have to wait, 0.25 seconds?
Yeah, it's really nice.
It is super nice. Lucent Singularity, missile speed has been decreased slightly to 1200. Radius has been pretty significantly decreased down to 310. It was 350. The cost has also been decreased. It was 70 to 130. It's now 70 to 110. Cooldown now scales with level. It was 10. It is now 10 to 8, which I never realized that E never scaled with level because I was always maxing it first.
Yeah, that's a huge buff for the scale. It's only 2 seconds, but... I wonder if Q might turn into a little bit of a 1-point wonder. Maybe you max W second because
I'm thinking that
it's already has a lower cooldown at rank 1 than it would at rank 5. And yeah, you're gonna be missing a healthy chunk of damage. But I just wonder if it's because you mostly just use it so you can for sure hit your E. It might be something.
Well, your
I
passive
test out.
really.
Yeah.
Because your Q throw E out, auto pop E, auto R, right? Like that's like the actual.
A lot of the time, you're not actually close enough to auto in between.
Get your autos in.
So, I mean, ideally, yeah, that's the most damage, but a lot of the time you're hitting a fairly long-range Q, tossing E and pressing R.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
If you're close enough to auto, your chances are close enough for someone to mess you up a little bit. Because Lux obviously has no escapes or anything. This is something that when people play Lux and take Ignite, it just tilts me. Because if you're close enough to Ignite them, you're probably close enough. Like, that's too close. You shouldn't never be close enough to Ignite someone. So, I think Barrier, especially with the new E change, W change, I think Barrier is always good. You can just get a massive shield, especially if you go, what's it called? Seraphs. That's like 3 huge shields you can cast on yourself. It makes you surprisingly tanky.
She's already tanky as it is. Like, when she gets ahead, that shield has a really good AP scaling ratio on it.
Yeah, it does.
And so she can, she heals herself and her team really well, shields herself and her team really well. But I'm really scared of the new Lux. Mid lane hasn't really been scary this season, besides a few tweaks here and there. Usually patches there and there, but like now this Lux getting changed, especially with E reducing its cooldown.
R buffs from the last few patches also.
I think you guys should go out there and start picking up Lux and make sure that you're weaving auto attacks in lane. With a 7% increased bonus attack speed at level 1, you have no reason not to be weaving auto attacks in.
Yeah,
anymore.
that's a late game thing is where you're not auto attacking with your passive.
Yeah.
In lane, you should for sure be trying to get those off.
Yeah. All right, let's move to the top. A Mumu getting changed a bit. Bandage toss. Mana cost was 80 to 120, down to 50 to 70.
Nice. I love Mumu buffs. I don't think this makes a huge difference, but any buffs from Mumu are good buffs.
No, a mana cost decrease when you're a jungler that doesn't take Q generally until level 3, unless you're doing an early gank at level 2, doesn't really matter.
Yeah, if you take Q level 1 and you're not fighting, you're gonna really struggle to clear your camps.
You should almost never, I would say 99.3% of the time, never take Q at level 1, even if you're fighting.
The only way I would take Q at level 1 is if someone hits an ability that stuns or roots someone, and then I can follow up with my Q, and then chances are you have enough damage to actually kill them.
And only the jungler, and you've also taken the bot lane back, and now you're able to take their buff. I think I need a specific scenario to do Q at level 1, because you just gimp your jungle path so hard.
Yeah, I mean, you can still, if you do red to Raptors, he clears Raptors incredibly fast. You can just do...
Assuming you have W, yeah. Or E.
No, you would go E, because E cooldown is lowered when you get attacked. So you take Raptors incredibly fast, and you take Wolves really quickly.
Yep. Let's talk about Caitlyn. Passive headshot. The damage to champions has not changed. It's now 50% modified by critical strike total attack damage. That hasn't changed. But what they wanted to do is basically make it so you can't heal up a fuckload by attacking minions in lane or by attacking jungle creeps. So what they did is they made it so that your headshot does 100% damage modified by critical strike. 100% of your total attack damage modified by critical strike. Essentially, it can't crit anymore on non-champions, and so therefore you're not getting as much healing through your headshot.
Does your headshot heal here? How does that work?
If you have life steal, it'll heal you.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, I'm following now. I've caught on.
Yep. Yes. So late game, she could just sustain forever. Like, you could get in a big fight and queue a camp as you're running somewhere and have half your life back by off a headshot proc. They just try to kill sustain. Sorry, I am so stuffed up. Ugh. Dr. Mundo, sadism. I think you guys should go and pick Dr. Mundo up.
This is insane.
His healing went from 40 to 60%, is now 50 to 100% maximum health.
With grievous wounds, I'm assuming people have grievous wounds, so it's really it's still a huge buff. You're almost getting as much if you didn't have grievous wounds on his original ult. It's just insane.
It's pretty bonkers.
100% maximum health. If you don't build grievous wounds versus Mundo,
you're never killing.
You're doing something wrong.
I wonder if Mundo now suddenly becomes, with the jungle changes coming in 8-10 in this buff here, I wonder if Mundo suddenly becomes really, really good. I don't know how. We're gonna look at the jungle experience.
Well, he can fight
it, but
early.
But that's my point. He can fight, and they're trying to. In 8-10, they're trying to force it so junglers fight more often, and he does a pretty good job of that dueling. Doesn't do as well as some other champions, but he does a pretty good job of it. Just depends how healthy he is.
Yeah.
So we talked about Garen already. Irelia, Ionian Fervor now also refreshes duration when attacking large monsters.
Quality of life.
Quality of life jungler change, I guess. Yeah. I don't know who's jungling Irelia, to be honest with you.
Or if you're doing Baron or Drag and then You don't want it to fall off while you're attacking it. Or I guess it did already do it versus epic monsters. I think that is a...
Don't know.
I think that is a distinction, epic and large.
It is.
I feel like Jungle Aurelia is something that Riot is trying to push that nobody else is playing. Because they put out that video, what was it, a couple years back about Jungle Aurelia.
I don't remember this one, but I'm going to take your word for it.
I'll find it. I know it wasn't a fever dream, so.
Sure. It's the hair, man. It's seeping into his head.
Bleach.
passive friend of forest. The cost. They're trying to make Ivern so he's not as punishing early, essentially. Passive friend of forest. The cost was 25% of his maximum health is now down to 22.5. The time that it takes to mature, it was 40 to 6 at levels 1 to 18. Is now 40 to 30s at level 1 to 6, 27 to 15 at level 7 to 11, and 11 to 3 at 12 to 14. So essentially, it goes 40 to 14 now instead of 40 to 6. Did I read that right?
I think so. It looks correct.
Oh, no. Sorry. It goes to 40 to 3. 40 to 3. Because it was 11 to 3 at levels 12 to 14.
Oh, okay.
So it only takes... So now it was 40 to 6. It is now 40 to 3.
Ooh, missile width. That could be sneaky.
Right. Root Collar missile width gone up to 80 from 65. I think Ivern's... I haven't looked at Lawlytics lately, but last I looked, I thought he was pretty sneaky good, was he not?
I think he's always sneaky good because he's like A-Soul, where he has a lot of mains who play him.
Yeah, 48.5, so not really the best. I don't think this pushes him up too far. It's not something I'd be going, oh man, Ivern's suddenly way out here. Because he's not going to be able to duel anybody early.
No, I don't think he's that fun to play.
No. Kaisa being changed in this patch. Cathian Rain evolved Q was 12 missiles down to 10. Bombardment missile damage is now flagged as an AoE in all cases. E supercharge duration was 5. It is now 4 seconds. Rune on Hurricane's bolts no longer grant supercharges cooldown reduction.
Okay, are they doing the AoE so she doesn't heal so much off of Death Stance?
Probably.
Because I've seen a Kaisa with like 2 HP Q a wave and she's full HP. Which is not fun.
No.
Yeah. Anything that... Also because of Riley's Crystal Scepter. Because it gets... And anything that's doing... Well, it used to be the burn, doesn't it? But basically anything that would count as a single target was giving too much utility for her through that. And it was allowing her to do too much damage, stay in the fights too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. She's doing really, really well right now, so I wouldn't be surprised to see more Kaisa hits here in the near future.
Yeah. I was listening to somebody talk about it the other day where he was saying that he doesn't think she's actually that good. It's just her kit is so overtuned in the number department that's why she's showing up everywhere.
But that does make her really good then. What the hell is he saying?
Her kit. He means her kit isn't that great. Like
it's like the opposite of Gallia, where his kit's so awesome that his numbers have to suck.
Yeah.
Her kit's so bad that her numbers have to be really good.
Yeah.
I followed you, Lancifer. I followed you.
Yeah, you got what I was saying.
Whatever.
I don't like this.
Null Spear.
I don't like this at all.
It was 40 to 160. It is now 60 to 160. So damage, or the shield has been increased by 20. 2015, 10, 5, 0.
This is like adding an AP version of bone plating to his Q because it's 20. Because I think bone plating blocks 20% damage, so he's just getting that every time he Qs. So it just when you're trying to punish cast in the worst is like his early levels, like 1 through 3, and now you're just doing 20 damage less every time you do damage to him, assuming you're an AP champion. So I don't like that at all because he scales so crazy that I think he needs to have a shitty early game. He doesn't need any help there.
Yeah, it might have been one of these cases where they maybe didn't need to buff Cassid and see what happened with all the mage changes before they touched him.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there.
All right, so Kennen, I'm sure this is why Lancifer wanted to join this podcast tonight. Kennen, they're changing him a bit. We're going to go through the changes, then we can talk about it. W, Electrical Surge, 5th attack base damage was 15 to 35. It is now 10 to 50. 5th attack damage ratio, AD, was 60% flat. It is now 60 to 100% bonus attack damage. 5th attack damage ratio was 0.3 ability power. It is now 0.2. active base damage was 65 to 185, is now 60 to 160. Active damage ratio, however, the ability power has been increased to 0.8 ability power. To also, so overall, a nerf to AP Cannon until later in the game when he gets more AP. So a nerf to early game power through the 5th attack damage and how much damage you're using when you active base damage, so when you proc W.
Yeah.
E Lightning Rush can engage 30 to 70% attack speed for 4 seconds upon exiting Lightning Rush. Lightning Rush's defensive bonuses are lost upon exiting Lightning Rush. So what do you think, Lance?
Okay, so these changes are kind of weird. At least the E changes are kind of weird. Like, I'm okay with... I'm both okay and not okay. As the player, I'm not okay with the defensive bonuses being lost as soon as you get out of your little cocaine ball. But it's definitely more fair because, just for clarity's sake, as for the attack speed, it's kind of a weird change just because that's what you're relying on for your escape. So the only time you're really going to be getting that attack speed is in your all-ins, which it will definitely help on those all-ins. Just being able to get off the extra auto attack or two. Because, yeah, your all-in is only going to last about 4 seconds anyways. But, I also just realized that either there's a clarity issue here where they missed something about this patch note, or they, took it out of, they did require that he hit a target with his E before he got the attack speed, so I don't know if that's a misprint or if they just change it completely. But yeah, that's going to help you all in. That's going to help you clear waves a little bit better whenever you're wanting to push and go back, because that's one thing. That's where he really struggles in lane, is clearing waves. Because your only real way to get your passive onto everybody is E through the wave, and then just auto the crap out of everything, W, and hope that it kills most of the things. As for the W changes, I really, really like the W changes.
Really?
Yeah, no, I really like, because one, like, he starts to fall off in the late game. He starts to fall off in the late game, and that helps give him a little bit extra scaling with his W, and helps his burst a lot with that W activation. The one thing I don't like about it, I will say, is that it really incentivizes AD Cannon again. Because of that 100 bonus attack damage. On AP, you're maxing Q first, so you don't get W until... You don't get that W bonus from your base... Well, no, you're not going to get it at all. Never mind. But you're not really feeling the increased W base... W 5th attack base damage. You're not really feeling that until, what is it, level 10, 12, that you're getting that 5th rank. Because you're going to max that second on AP. However, on AD, a lot of times you're going to be maxing the W first. So you're going to be getting that bonus attack damage steroid a lot quicker. The fifth attack for the AP ratio is kind of whatever. You're not really relying on that as a whole lot of your burst. Plus, it's only a 10% difference, and the active kind of makes up for it. Overall, I really like these changes. Like, I really like these changes a lot. Once he gets a couple items, plus with Spellbinder, which people were already looking at on him, plus that all accentuating with Celerity, I really like these changes a lot. He's coming out on top.
So he gets 8 attack damage, 70% of that. He's not really making up for the difference level 1 with it, but it changes. Yeah, I was just thinking, because if you're starting Doran's Blade early to be able to punish people with auto attacks in lane, allowing it to scale, because you're maxing W in lane anyway, if you're moving into AP Cannon, E and W, you're doing more damage through auto attacks, incentivizing using your poke. Yeah, I think overall the changes actually make more sense. Though I just don't think there's enough Cannon players or enough people that understand Kennen well enough for this to suddenly make a huge resurgence, but
I'm okay
I can
with that.
definitely see people starting to pick him up. So if you're looking at somebody that's ranged and you like Yordles, I think Kennen might be good for you. Hell, even out of mid lane now, Kennen might not be terrible.
I think you can almost go like a Kale build on him. Max W then E. Just scooch a ton of damage.
That's usually what you're doing anyway, though, out of top lane. It's WE.
For AD, yeah. Because you're not getting anything out of your Q. So,
I mean, 70% attack speed is a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Alright, let's let me yawn. Oh, shit. Alright, I'm here. I'm back. Leona, the Eclipse base damage being increased. It was 40 to 200, is now 60 to 220. They feel that since they nerfed Aftershock, they can give Leona some of her, the base damage off of Eclipse, which is fine. I think we're trending more toward enchanters recently anyway, rather than these tanks, so I don't see this change. This is one of those changes that's going to screw us later when tanks really start coming back in the bottom lane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We talked about Lux. Rammus, defensive ball curl, flat armor on activation was 20, now 30. Congrats, he's now a little more tankier coming out of the jungle, right? Or rather, a little bit healthier coming out of the jungle.
Yeah. And a little tankier.
Poppy, passive Iron Ambassador. Okay, excuse me. Poppy's getting some actually pretty significant changes in this patch. Base movement speed has been decreased to 340 from 345. So she's a little slow. You'll feel it. Trust me. Passive.
If it ended Janna's career, it could probably end Poppy's.
Yeah, I don't think so to the rest of these changes. Passive Iron Ambassador range bonus up to 350 from 300. So you can throw your passive from a further range away, which is pretty awesome. More harass, which she does really well in lane. A W Steadfast Presence bonus. Movement speed is now a flat 30%. Base resistance is down to 10% from 15%. Resistance bonus below 40% health down to 20%. So a little less tankier, which is, I'd say, it's pretty significant. Heroic Charge. The range has been increased to 475. And Keeper's Verdict. Snapcast no longer makes enemies untargetable during knockup. Snapcast knockup duration 0.75. It is a big deal. Base damage has also been decreased slightly.
The missiles seems huge.
Between Heroic Charge having 50 more range and that Snapcast, anybody can attack it, and the fact that Iron Ambassador allows you to do more harassing in lane, even though you lost some base movement speed, I feel like these Poppy changes really do push her in the right direction. Like, she doesn't need to be unkillable through W, right?
Right.
So removing some resistances when she's basically building nothing but resistances is okay in my book. And
I don't know. I played against an AD Poppy last night.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure she wrecked face too, didn't she?
No, she fed, but
damn it,
Trinity Force into some stupid shit.
Dude, an increased range on Heroic Charge is actually a pretty big deal, especially for lane, because it's way easier. Set up ganks. Yeah, I'm actually scared of this new Poppy. Something else to keep your eye out for is new Poppy. You give it a patch or two, I think people will start picking her back up.
Mm-hmm.
Shyvana Burnout ability power damage ratio removed. E Flame Breath Fireball damage ratio. Her AP, this is all AP, increased to 0.7 ability power. R Dragon's Ascent damage ratio up to 1.0 ability power. Cool. I don't think anyone's building AP Shyvana, right?
That's a lot of AP. That's almost that's one full AP. No, it's not. It's 7. 7.7 scaling added to her total kit. So,
I mean, I'm probably gonna bite my tongue or kick myself in the ass later for this, but I'm just gonna ignore that one because I don't see anybody building full AP Shyvana.
I was thinking that the only time she got any AP in her kit was the occasional Rage Blade buyers, but
I've seen like Leandry's if you're ahead and you just like get that as a 4th item.
Interesting.
But I'm not saying that's good. I've just seen it before.
All right, so go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just musing over the idea of Leandry's on Shyvana.
Oh, yeah.
It's an interesting idea, but yeah.
Sona, base attack damage up by 3 to 49. Shit. Passive power cord up by 5. It was 15 to 235. It is now 20 to 240.
They're making some game-breaking changes on these enchanter supports these last few patches.
That is legitimately a pretty big change for her, considering how often she's getting power cord and spamming it. An extra, 15, 20, 25 damage over the course of the lane can make or break.
Fair enough. I'm just talking about the small numbers.
Right.
They don't look too striking.
I think it's a pretty significant change for Sona. Do I think that Sona's in a good spot or whatever? I think she's probably too hard to play for the majority of people that are trying to play her, so I don't think that it's like overbearing. And she has low life value, and a lot of the 80 marksmen right now are pretty aggressive, but still, I am scared of a 5 across the board change. Passive Transcendence on Syndra. It was Dark Sphere's last 2 additional seconds. Dark Sphere deals 15% damage to champions. Or Dark Spheres deals plus 15% damage to champions.
I don't know how this interacts with their ult late game, because I imagine you'll be able to get at least one less ball out to ult with, because it won't be sitting around. But I feel like plus 15% is a lot.
It's more so that if you land Qs on people before you ult them, you're still doing roughly the same amount of damage, if not a little bit more. But they want people to be rewarded for landing the Q rather than just pressing R. So they're increasing the overall damage of Q. Which I don't think Syndra needed a buff, but there it is.
Syndra's not great right now.
Syndra never needs a buff, no matter how good or bad she is. Having a I press R and delete you button is never any fun. All right, Talon bug fix, Noxian Diplomacy, range increased to 575 for 500. It was a bug that it was lower than expected. Which, if that's true, pretty significant change. 575. It is a lot.
Yeah.
But does he need that extra range if he's jumping onto you? I guess he's not jumping, he's just using his talons to slow you, isn't he? They get to you.
I mean, 75 range is 75 range, so.
Yeah.
Well put. Well said. 75 range is 75 range, Rail. All right. Warwick getting a change. Base stats attack damage down to 63 from 66. Jaws of the Beast Q. Target's maximum health damage was 6 to 10. It is now 6 to 8%. And all I can say is good, because Warwick needed more buffs. Because fuck that champion.
Yeah, I'm cool with this. I've seen a lot of Warwick recently.
Yeah. I'm just at the point where you could nerf Warwick and just remove him completely from the meta, and I would be totally okay with it. I just don't. He's the top. He's the winningest jungler right now, right? And for good reason, because he just does everything you'd ever want to do better than anybody else.
Yeah, he's one of those champions who isn't that difficult to pick up, but can have a huge impact on the game.
Yeah, he's very versatile, and he gets around the map incredibly quickly.
Yep, once you proc that blood scent, he's everywhere.
They're changing Ziggs. A Hexplosive Minefield base damage was 40 to 140, is now 40 to 180. Which,
Is that the individual bombs?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I imagine it is. You max that second or third normally, I think.
Third, I believe, because he maxed W second. The more points you put in W, if I remember correctly, the lower or higher the percentage you can blow a turret up goes.
Very true.
Yeah.
Ginsu's Rageblade fixed a bug where Rageblade interacted with other bonus attack damage, granting effects to grant more attack damage than intended.
How much more? That's what I want to know.
More. Let's put it that way. Jhin and Master Yi are getting too much.
Yep.
All right. The other big changes in this patch, Baron Nashor is getting tankier early, essentially. His base damage was 400 to 550 at minutes 20 to 40. It is now 285 to 435 at minutes 20 to 40. Base health has been significantly increased. It was 6,400. It is now 9,000. Baron Corruption. It now does 120 plus 30% total attack damage every basic attack and spike attack. Baron Corruption attack is also represented by different visual particles now to make the difference more clear. So those 20-minute sneaking Barons that you would do, he might do less damage now, but he's going to take a lot longer to kill. So they're trying to make Baron the objective more risk reward than he was at the current state of the game. That's likely. Yeah, well, that was likely also too because they kept adding so much power, early game power, to a lot of champions that it was easier and easier to start taking Baron earlier and earlier because you're doing more and more damage, right?
Yeah.
We routinely saw 25, 30-minute 3-man Barons, and now this should be significantly harder to take, impacting early game. But I think we're really looking at what the 30-minute mark here and having 9,000 health and doing a little less damage. Well, actually, technically doing more damage because Corruption's going to do a fuckload more damage to you if you get hit. So, dance. Learn to dance. Put your dancing shoes on, boys and girls. It's going to be a lot harder to take Baron.
Yep.
Don't get hit by his spikes and anything else he throws on the ground, or else you will die. Alright, we'll leave it there. We're summoning Rift Herald. Damage to self on turret charge was 150 plus 25% of his current health. It is now just a flat 25% of his current health. Damage to turret on turret charge is 150 plus 25% of his current health. Now it is 40% of current HP or 1500, whichever is greater. So the max he can do to a turret now is 1500 damage. And the eye damage was 20% maximum health. It is now 40% maximum health.
Alright. So, I like that. You can kill it quicker. You're going to have to use it more strategically.
Yeah, I like that too. It makes more sense that if I'm being able to get behind it when it's attacking my turret, I should be able to knock it down really fast. It was kind of annoying to watch it charge into my turret, and I had to spend forever, like, fucking around with it, right? Especially if it was alone.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it definitely makes it feel better to play against, because, like you were saying, it doesn't feel good to have to sit there and chunk it down, except you're doing no damage to it unless you smack it in the eye a couple times. So,
right.
I like those changes too.
So that change on this patch. One last change from this patch is Unsealed Spellbook has been completely changed on this patch, and it's possible for you to have 3 summoner spells now, thanks to Unsealed Spellbook. So the way this new rune works is you can swap one of your equipped summoner spells to a new single-use summoner spell. After using the single-use summoner spell, your original summoner spell will swap back in. First swap is available at 6 minutes. Swap cooldown is 4 minutes, permanently reduced by 15 seconds each time you swap to a summoner spell you haven't yet swapped to. Your original summoner spell continues cooling down in the background while swapped out. You can now swap your summoner spells anywhere on the map as long as you're out of combat. So think about this, guys. Think about later in the game when you could be, I don't know, Vlad, and you could have Ghost and Flash on the same button, and then something like Barrier or whatever else you want, Teleport on the other button. Or you could have Teleport and Ghost on the same button so that you can just teleport down and suddenly have Ghost for a fight. Like, Unsealed Spellbook, as the game goes on, it gets a little bit scarier and scarier.
Yeah, this seems pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine Zoe with even more summoner spells, because I've seen a lot of Zoes take summoner spellbook, so that just seems like she'll be taking that all the time because it adds damage to her kit also.
We do not speak that name here. I don't appreciate you saying it.
I was taking it on Vagar or Karthus even because... Yeah, sorry, I got distracted. I was taking on either of those because it was easy to need teleport for specific places in the game, but later on I might want Ghost or, a shield or cleanse or whatever it may be. And now that I can pick up this Unsealed Spellbook and potentially have 3 summoner spells for a key point in the game. But like something that we're not really talking about is we can swap that summoner spell any point at all anywhere. I could be out in the middle of lane clear wave and I can suddenly go, well, I want teleport to be able to jump bottom lane. And I can pick it.
Yeah, it seems incredibly strong. I like it a lot. I'm going to test it out.
Yeah. Yep, especially mid laners will have ultimates at that point.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if people are taking this and swapping to like I said, going into the game with Ignite or Barrier or something, swapping to teleport at the 6-minute mark, jumping down bottom lane, and then just, walking their happy ass back after getting a couple kills.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That seems like it's just going to add another layer. Because, outside of Zoe, you never had anyone who could access more than 2. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it actually plays out and what champions can utilize it the best. But I think Vladimir stands out for sure. Maybe Swain also. Because, what's it called? Ghost on Swain late game is incredibly strong.
Right.
Yeah. Is he still taking Phase Rush?
I have been, but you would have to take Unsealed Spellbook now.
Okay.
Cool. There we go. We made it through the patch, boys. We did it.
A solid podcast with a solid patch.
Yeah.
That's right. Probably one of the patches I'm happier with than the recent ones.
It's for sure interesting. A lot of the changes are, especially with mid lane, are going to be wait and see what happens. But I think it's gonna make for an interesting little stretch with the meta.
I think
So get out
Talon,
there.
Talon and Zed are gonna be really strong this patch.
And Katarina.
Yeah.
Yay,
LeBlanc.
Katarina.
Yeah, I got to keep banning LeBlanc too, because fuck that champion.
Yeah, that's who I've been banning.
Ooh, I hear her crying, baby. She ain't happy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to the Trinity Force podcast. That is patch 8.9 discussion. We will be back tomorrow with more League of Legends discussion for you guys. Peace.
Later.
Thanks for listening to our product and being a member of the Trinity Force Network community. If you have a moment, please head over to iTunes and give your favorite show a comment and a rating. If you're so inclined, you can check out all of the other great shows in the network. We've got a wide variety of content from League of Legends to general gaming and role-playing podcasts. If you'd like to follow us on social media, we can be found on Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit under T-Force Network. We've also got a Patreon under that name where you can support your favorite shows with a small donation each month. Thanks again for listening, and we hope you continue to enjoy all of our podcasts, videos, and the community that we've provided.